With the AFC East title up for grabs, the Buffalo Bills put on a show Saturday afternoon in the Mile High City, beating the Broncos by a 29-point margin en route to their first division title since 1995. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in for another edition of Broncos Beat. I'm Alexis Perry, joined today by ESPN's Jeff Legwold, Cecil Lamy from 104.3 The Fan, and Super Bowl 50 champion Ryan Harris of Altitude Sports Radio. You guys, it was their worst loss of the Vic Fangio era. And while the defense is equally to blame, I want to start with the offense, because after a week of praising Drew Lock and this Broncos offense for what they did in Carolina, that group simply did not show up Saturday against the Bills. Denver put up a total of 255 yards to Buffalo's 534 and could only muster 91 total yards in the second half. So who or what is to blame for the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde showing from week 14 to week 15?
Well, we can cut through everything and just say it's Drew Lock. It always comes back to Drew Lock, okay? And it comes down to the turnovers. And I know I've had a lot of people come after me because I point out that Drew Lock has had a fumble or an interception in every game that he's played except for week one. Well, it still comes back to him. Yes, Philip Lindsay missed the pass block, and he's done that more than once. And it's not having a good, let's say, last month of the season. I know that. We all know that. But at the end of the day, it comes back to that young quarterback. It comes back to the lack of consistency that he has within his game. He has to be better. He has to be more consistent. When we see drives like we saw at the end of the first half, that shows he can do it. Well, he needs to do it more. He needs to be more consistent, better decision-making, better accuracy. It always comes back to the quarterback.
No, it's the turnovers too. Like Cecil's saying, he is right now among the top 9 quarterbacks in turnovers this season. Of those 9, only 3 play for a winning team. And of those 3, each of those 3 plays for a team with a top 10 scoring offense or a top 10 scoring defense. So it is turnovers right now for him. He has to take care of the ball. He has 1 turnover in the game Saturday, and it's a game changer.
Right.
Yeah, and not only is it a game changer for the Broncos this season, but it changes the game for your fellow teammates. I mean, his teammates are doing everything they can, and then all of a sudden another fumble, second straight game with a fumble due to a sack. That can't happen. But also we as fans, we don't want our quarterback to lose the game. And yesterday to me was a perfect example of the 3 types of quarterbacks in the NFL. There are NFL quarterbacks who lose you games. There are NFL quarterbacks who don't win you games, and then there's quarterbacks who win you games. And Drew Lock on Saturday, he just didn't win you that football game. Was it absolutely terrible? No. Was it eye-popping off the charts? Absolutely not. He didn't lose them the game, but he had to win them the game, especially in the third quarter. That didn't happen.
Cecil, you mentioned Denver's final drive in the first half. Lock went 7 for 8 for 56 yards. He delivered a great ball to Noah Fant in the end zone. So what impressed you guys about that drive, and why aren't those drives something that we can see consistently from this Broncos offense?
What impressed me about it is he played within the system. I mean, I don't need to see Drew Lock throw 70-yard bombs. I already know he can do that. They're low percentage throws anyway. I need to see him be a game manager. I need to see him, like we saw against Carolina, pick and choose your spots where you can take those shots as I start to turn into Dr. Seuss. Like you need to work within the structure of the offense, use those short passes, take some deep shots if they're there, but get into that rhythm, almost force yourself into that rhythm somehow, some way. And that's why that drive worked, because he was able to get into a rhythm and played within the structure of what they asked him to do.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Alexis, there's one play. You want to circle one play in that game. There's a game where he throws a ball into a tight window to Jerry Jeudy. Jeudy misses it. Everyone says, oh, he almost made the play. Actually, the guy underneath is wide open, and it's a first down, and you keep the drive going, and then you can take your shot later. But you've got to take the easy money.
Well, we've seen this offense take 1 step forward and 2 steps backwards throughout this entire season. So is this something that we could just chalk up to growing pains for a young offense and a new coordinator, or is there a bigger issue at play here?
Well, it's not just the offensive coordinator. It's the fact that you haven't had a solid and starting 5 offensive line this entire season. Courtland Sutton, your number 1 weapon, he's out. There's no consistency in key places that create success in the NFL. And absolutely part of that is at that quarterback position. But I believe Drew Lock has made steps. He's just not the guy to win you games like we see from some of the great quarterbacks who are going to the playoffs this year.
Yeah, and what you see also with Drew Lock in this offense is that lack of consistency. As I'll go back to that as the number one thing. But to me, the dirty secret in the NFL is fit, because I understand there's a lot of people saying patience, and that is something to consider. It's something to preach, certainly, if the fit is right. So why are we sitting here at the end of the season and we haven't yet, outside of the Panthers game and half of the Chargers game, found that proper fit? You know, Pat Shurmur, Drew Lock, come together, find a way to work better together and find the offense that fits Drew Lock the best. That's when you can have the patience that people continue to want you to have.
And, you know, the issue, if you look at, Josh Allen is the testament to this. I mean, if you look at his first 16 starts, they look awfully similar to Drew Lock's first 16 starts in many metrics. But two things happened. Brian Daboll evolved with Josh Allen as the offensive coordinator, and Josh Allen worked his butt off in the offseason to fix his footwork. And Drew Lock has to start from the ground up. Quarterback is not played from the shoulder out. It's played from the ground up, from your neck up, and he has to do those two things.
I do want to say, though, too, a lot of people making the Josh Allen comparison. Josh Allen also has Stephon Diggs this year. That's a wide receiver that's arguably a top 5 wide receiver in the game. He's going to help any quarterback. And if you put Stephon Diggs on this Broncos team, there would be a whole lot more production as well.
Here's your stat to look at. I just looked at this. Vic Fangio rushed 5 or more 14 times in Saturday's game. Every throw except 2 of those went to Diggs or Beasley. So some of it is matter, like Ryan says, it does matter where you're putting the ball.
Well, who do you trust? Right now, we see kind of a lack of trust, especially with Jerry Jeudy. I also often look at like Justin Jefferson every week, a touchdown or 100 yards. It seems like he's on fire. And Jerry Jeudy is at least as good as Justin Jefferson. I had him ranked better. They're both first-round picks, obviously. But when I look at this situation, like, can you force the ball? Can you almost jumpstart in a way? Jerry Jeudy, similar to the way that they did with Demaryius Thomas years ago, where DT, you have to get him those screens, will kind of warm up DT, and then he'd go out there and make those big plays later in the game. I don't know why we don't see that for Jerry Jeudy. I don't know if it's a disconnect between him and Drew Lock or a disconnect between him and Pat Shurmur, but when you have that sort of talent, like, he could be doing the things similar to what Justin Jefferson is doing. He could. And by the way, on a run-heavy team, it's the Vikings. It's Gary Kubiak. We all know Kubes in that system. So maybe force the ball to Jerry Jeudy. I don't know if that's popular, but that's my opinion.
Well, really quick, Leggy, I want to bring this up because you mentioned this in your post-game piece. Phillip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon were both listed as questionable for the Bills game after being limited in practice all week. So how much do you think not having those guys feeling 100% really affected what this team could do offensively?
I thought they both started slowly, but Gordon looked fine to me by the time the game's over.
Right.
I mean, he is rocking it, late in the game. So I think sometimes they bail on that too early. I still believe their heavier personnel groupings, condensing the formation, has worked best for them since August. And I think sometimes they have a drive right before the end of the half. They're in 3 wide the whole way, and it works great. And then they decide that should be part of the equation for the rest of the game. I think they just need to go heavier and run more.